Hello and welcome to InFocus on Quews News with me, Curtis Hinton. This Friday evening through to Saturday morning, depending where you are in the world, 65 million people tuned in to watch the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. And here to discuss this fight with me, whether to find out it was indeed fixed or if it was a genuine fight, I've got Barbas Qureshi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me today.
So, first and foremost, do you think it was a fixed fight?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, an influencer turned into a boxer, Jake Paul, versus 58 years old, greatest boxer in the world, Mike Tyson, doesn't seem quite right if you think about it.
Well, Jake Paul's record, so this is his 13th fight, unlucky for some maybe. He's for Tommy Fury, an actual boxer, previously won 8, lost none, drawn none. Nate Diaz, a former UFC fighter, his debut, so not a boxer, he fought him. Andre, a record of 10-1-1, 10 wins to 1 draw, 1 loss. Bouland, 17 wins, 20 losses and no draws. Perry, second fight, and Mike Tyson, 50 fights, 50 wins, and now 7 losses. Doesn't really add up. He's not fighting boxers, is he?
No, he's just fighting people that will be catching the public eye, that he thinks are people who aren't very well known or aren't really boxers. So he's just fighting people that he thinks he can beat. So he's just going for the bigger and bigger opponents, and Tyson was his next opponent.
You're from a generation where YouTube is huge. YouTube is everything. Growing up, YouTube and television was for me. Now it's predominantly YouTube. People consume everything via YouTube. This fight was on Netflix, a streaming service. Do you think that plays an important role in the future of how boxing looks, or do you think it's just an entertainment event rather than a sporting event?
I think this was more of an entertainment event, as if you think about it, an influencer wouldn't really have anything to do with boxing.
Yeah.
So, as I said earlier, as it's a fixed match, in my opinion, this is why it's on Netflix, I'd say, instead of Sky Sports or anything else.
Well, comparing the two, Tyson is a world heavyweight champion at one point. He is one of the greatest to ever fight. He only landed in punches. He landed 4 on the body. He had 18 landed completely out of 97. Jabs, he only landed 5, none on the body, out of 62 attempted. And power punches, he landed 13 of his 35. Now, he is 58 years old. Jake Paul is 27. There's a huge 21-year difference between the two. For a 31-year difference between the two. What do you think it was for? Cash?
I think it was for cash and to also grab people's attentions to Jake Paul a bit more as well. So imagine beating world's best heavyweight boxer Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
That's definitely gonna get some money.
Does it give you credibility as a boxer, do you think? Does it give Jake Paul credibility? He can now say he beat Mike Tyson. Now, he doesn't stand in the same ring as the 6 previous because they fought Tyson when he was at his prime. So does Jake Paul now have a right to call himself a professional boxer?
I would say no, because if you think about it, Mike Tyson he's way past his prime. He's at 58. So I don't think it's fair that a 27-year-old boxer who is like all fit and stuff is facing like 58-year-old Mike Tyson. So I don't think you can really say that. It's like saying, for example, oh, I raced faster than Usain Bolt when Usain Bolt was like 80. So it's not really fair to compare the two.
I think Usain Bolt would beat me at a race even when he is 80, to be honest. So we go back to the cash side of things. Tyson's paid 20 million and Jake Paul was paid 40 million. That's what they took from the fight. There was a record-breaking 18 million taken at the gate in terms of tickets. That almost covers Tyson's fights, and that's a fee without sponsorship or anything else. So Jake Paul's MVP company has made quite a bit of money on this.
Yeah.
Do you like to see fights like this? Does the younger generation like to see this, or do you not? I mean, like I say, Jake Paul is a YouTuber, as you've said. Is this the future of what the sports look like? Is it entertainment rather than an actual sport now?
I think now as AI is coming into the mix, I feel like more and more content is going to be staged now. So this is going to be the future of sports nowadays, as the younger generation don't watch boxing fights with people like Mike Tyson. So, because we don't really know them. So, but Jake Paul, we do know. So it's like a clash of both worlds. It's like the older generation with Mike Tyson, the newer generation with Jake Paul. So it's really interesting to see how they've kind of turned away from the traditional sports.
Do you think it's bringing more younger people into the sport of boxing?
Yes, I
More
think
interested
so,
into
yeah.
it?
Because the fact that it's on Netflix as well, that also changes things up because most of the younger generation wouldn't be going on Sky, really. They wouldn't really have memberships to Sky. But Netflix, people do like watch Netflix shows and stuff like that, so they probably would have.
For a lot of people, it didn't cost a thing if they've already got Netflix. It's not anything additional. Usually you're paying £20 upwards to watch a fight like this on the box office. So do you think that Jake Paul made a good call by going to Netflix and saying, let's do this fight on your platform?
I think he did because as a fight that's mostly free for some people, he's gathering the viewers' views and attention.
He crashed the site. Netflix actually went, a lot of people around the world complained that it was buffering throughout the fight. And obviously the streaming service, it only buffers if your internet goes down at home. That's a remarkable achievement for Netflix, considering it's used by millions all the time around the world.
Yeah, that is really impressive as most of the people who are tuning in are probably younger than 20
Yeah.
or around that age, which is, well, interesting that the younger generation is watching more sports-related content, which is, I'd say it's better than just having the older generation watching sports content and
Yeah.
just having the newer generation doom scrolling on TikTok.
So do you want to see more fights like this? Or would you want to see more fights of YouTubers versus YouTubers rather than YouTuber versus retirees?
I think it would be better for YouTuber versus YouTuber, as even though YouTubers do post a lot of content, people want to see something different from them as well.
Yeah.
So Jake Paul, I don't think if it was just Mike Tyson versus any other boxer, it would definitely not get as much attention. But because this is Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, two people that most people know very well already.
Two controversial people. See, Mike Tyson had a controversial career with his biting fixation he's got. We saw that in the fight. He kept biting his glove a lot because he has to clinch his jaw during the fight, as he said. Two controversial people. Jake Paul, is he a good example for the younger generation?
As a good role model?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
Because as we want to be honest and really be a good person, but I don't think Jake Paul is doing that right now, as he's really being a bit arrogant as he's trying to like fight these bigger opponents that are either not boxers or just past their prime, like Mike Tyson.
I mean, he's almost it's like a circus, isn't it? People are questioning it now, but I mean, in 5 years' time, it could be the norm. It could be celebrities or older people. I mean, Floyd Mayweather a few years ago came back out of retirement to face Conor McGregor. Obviously, Conor McGregor is an athlete in himself, so maybe it's not as controversial as this fight was. I mean, we've got to give Paul his credit. He threw 278 punches, landed 78 of them. He threw 179 jabs compared to Tyson's 62. He landed 31 of them. And power shots, he had 99 power shots compared to Tyson's 35. And he landed 47. So he landed more power shots than Tyson threw. Is this Tyson showing age, or is this just Tyson being brought for the fight?
I think this is just Tyson being brought for the fight, as
we saw in his training, he was very fit. He was very, his mind was there. He was very quick. We didn't see that in the fight. He very quickly deteriorated.
Yeah, and I don't think that's just a momentarily just doing that. I think as the $20 million he's being paid, I don't think this is really a fair fight, really. He's just doing that for the money.
Well, as I said, 60 million of us tuned in to watch the show and an additional 5 million thereafter. So clearly it's bringing in some sort of income for the network, for Netflix, and potentially for Amazon and Apple TV, whoever wants to hold these events to come. Let us know what your thoughts are, whether you thought this was a fixed fight or whether you thought it was a fair fight, and whether you think Jake Paul has credibility now as a professional boxer. You've been watching In Focus with Curtis Hinton and Babers Qureshi on Quews News.